with signals and train control systems, safety and efficiencies are, always been our primary goal. And I think, just like Jared, I think there's a chance AI may actually help us with both of them. When you think about some things we've done internally, I know we've started doing some work with AI just regarding our everyday, email meeting workload and helping us summarize those tasks. But even further beyond that, I know I'm giving a presentation with Waitronics at the symposium, talking a little bit about AI and how we're going to utilize some outward-facing cameras and AI to help us with automatic inspections of wayside assets. So I think there's an opportunity that AI really helps all the committees at some point, and will down the road. So definitely more to come. I know it's still early on. Got lots of work to do in that arena.
You may know the American Railway Engineering and Maintenance of Way Association, or AREMA, as the, quote, keepers of the manuals. You may know them as the, quote, people behind the largest annual railroad conference in North America. Heck, you may not know about AREMA at all. This podcast is designed, no pun intended, to change your view of who AREMA is and how AREMA has changed the trajectory of many railway careers over its 100-plus year history. Welcome to Platform Chats with your host, Walt Bleser, where he takes a moment to discuss the impacts AREMA has had on the very people who are proud to be called members. Are you ready to roll with AREMA?
Unabridged Structures is a proud supporter of AREMA and Platform Chats, specializing in innovative and practical solutions for railway and transportation infrastructure. Unabridged Structures brings clarity and creativity to complex structural challenges. Learn more at unabridgedstructures.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back to yet another episode of Platform Chats. I am your host, Walt Bleser, for, year number 6 we are entering into, or as they say, season 6 of Platform Chats. We're rolling into roughly episode 50 or so, which is hard to believe when we set out to do this 6 or so years ago. I think I get emotional every time I start one of these podcasts, and you're getting tired of hearing about it, but it's still pretty cool that we've been doing this for so long, and we continue to have what I would consider really good content. I think as soon as the content dries up and it's not good, we'll stop doing it. But so far, we keep finding awesome guests, and I hope everyone really enjoyed what we did in 2025. We got a great year to look ahead to here in 2026. Obviously, this is going to be our first drop in 2026, our first episode. I am looking forward to this year. I think it's going to be exciting for AREMA. We've got a great symposium plan, which we're going to talk about today. We've got tons of obviously great committee meetings set up. It seems that our membership increased year over year, 24, 25. So we're looking for that to continue to uptick. And we're going to cap it off with a really cool first time ever as AREMA, I believe. I think we might have done it as AREA, but as AREMA, the conference that we're going to be doing in Kansas City. And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot going on. It's going to be a good year. Glad to have you here. Glad if you're listening, please come back for more. We'll have even more cool content as we head into the year. With that, let's jump right into this one. We're going to talk a little bit about the CNS Symposium, but also we're going to talk a little bit about the CNS Functional Group. This is the first time I've had multiple representatives on since maybe, I think the last person, season 2, maybe. I think Jerry Specht, who I believe is our AREMA president this year. You'll see quite a bit of Jerry throughout the year, but he was the last person on from CNS back when we rolled out committee, I want to say 35. So it's been a minute. I'm glad to have him here. I'm excited to hear what they have to say. I've got Jason Schroeder online here, as well as Jared Hopewell. I'm going to let them do their own introductions. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Jason, we'll start with you. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, who you work for, how in the heck did you get there, and what you do for AREMA, my friend.
All right. Hey, thanks for having us there, Walt. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jason Schroeder. I'm currently Assistant Chief Engineer for CSX Transportation. I oversee the Signal and PTC design, engineering, and test groups. I started out with CSX, in January of 2003, after I graduated from Ohio State University with a bachelor's in electrical and computer engineering. I originally started off in Avon, Indiana, on a signal construction team. And I did that for a couple years and eventually moved to Jacksonville over the summer of 2004. And from there, I had various jobs, primarily in the signal design group and our project management team, overseeing some of our larger infrastructure projects. And then from about 2009 to 2017, I oversaw our test group as a director of service test engineering. It's where we pretty much traveled the country and installed and cut over signal systems during the PTC years of implementation. And then in 2017, that's when I was promoted into the position I currently have as assistant chief engineer, and I oversee the signal design groups. My role in ARIMA. So here for the last couple of years, I've been on the CNS and IT board of directors. That's where we oversee the various signal and communication committees, and then working with Jared and Mitch, we've been putting together the program for this symposium that we're planning here between now and March of next year. So that's all I got there. Well,
There were a lot of acronyms in there, and before I jump over to Jared, because I'm sure he'll use some as well, just real briefly, you use the term PTC. What does that mean?
yeah, so PTC is called Positive Train Control. It is a system that was mandated back in 2008 and has been deployed throughout the United States on our primary corridors where we have PIH and a certain amount of gross tons. So it took about a decade to install and develop that system, and now we're fully in compliant here for the last 5 years.
And I would assume all the Class One railroads are at this time they're in compliance with PTC.
That is correct.
Okay, yeah, I remember a lot of buzz about that. Like you said, about over a decade ago or so. So is that kind of old news?
Old news.
Got it.
The way we do business these days.
All right, perfect transition. Not to call anybody old news, Jared, but you're up, my friend.
Well, thanks, Walt. Appreciate you having us here. So my name is Jared Hopewell. I'm currently the Assistant VP of Communications and Signals at Norfolk Southern. I've been with NS coming up on 21 years at this point, and kind of a similar path to Jason. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, went to Penn State, graduated with a electrical engineering degree from there in 2004, joined NS in early 2005. I spent my first 7 years going through a management training program, and then various field positions in supervision on in our maintenance side of our house, handling day-to-day business on the line of road, accomplishing all of our FRA testing and overseeing groups of maintainers. After that, in 2012, I moved to Atlanta, where our office is, and I was really fortunate at that point to be able to join our design group, signal design group, at the time where we were going to full steam ahead into the work necessary for the PTC mandate that you all both have talked about. So really a lot of work done in a compressed amount of time. But that helped me, really learn the railroad, even if it was from a piece of paper. And coincidentally, that's really when my involvement in ARIMA started. But as my area of influence grew from more of a local level to a system level, and really getting more involved in standards and working with other railroads, that's when Jason and I really started working together a lot on joint projects between NS and CSX at our intersection points that have continued really through to this day. So really interesting how the industry comes together on those kind of efforts. So that's a really good mention there, just what PTC we all went through together as a joint effort as an industry, and certainly ARIMA and our committees here in the CS and IT group we're part of that as well, following through with our practices.
And so are you the VP of the CNS functional group?
Yeah, skip that part. ARIMA, so I started off in being involved in Committee 37. Then I was also a director and am now the functional group VP for the
Okay,
CS&IT group.
and 37 is what?
37 is the signal, the wayside signaling committee.
Perfect. Okay, and is this your first year as a VP?
Well, I stepped in as a partial term for Jerry when he stepped up, so I'm starting into a full term here as the group VP.
Okay, perfect. And Jason, what brought you into the CNS group? Which have you been a long-term standing member of one of the committees, or all of them, or what?
Yeah, so back in 2005, at the time when I just started down here in our design team, my manager at the time encouraged me to participate in AREAM, and I started off in Committee 37. I eventually transitioned to Committee 39. That's the Positive Train Control Committee. But really, I did it as an education and development opportunity. As a new engineer in the office, just like Jared, I got to know a lot of people around the industry, and that's really what I used AREMA for, is development and then networking with others in the industry. So yeah, I started back in 2005, and I've been a member ever since.
That's cool, and it's actually pretty neat. For those that don't know, I mean, it's neat to have representation from NS and CSX, who are obviously in the real world competitors, coming together to work on problems that quote unquote affect everybody in the industry, like PTC, and that's a pretty good example of what AREMA's been doing for probably 100+ years now. Is people that might be competitors in real life sit down and solve common problems that are facing them, like PTC, which I believe a lot of individuals considered a relatively unfunded mandate from the government. If you want to know more about that, I'm sure there's a Wikipedia about it, but it's an interesting topic to increase safety in the industry. So let's talk just real briefly. So right now, and you might have just said this, and I spaced out. Are you the chair of 39, or you're just a member right now? How did you get roped into the symposium, I guess, is where I'm going with that.
Is that a question for me, Art?
That's for you, Jason. Sorry. I know why Jared is. He has to do it.
Yeah, I think Jerry at the time reached out, wanted me to participate as a director in the CNS and IT group a couple years ago. So it was one of those opportunities, for me to kind of get a little bit more involved in some of the planning, of AREMA and our functional group.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So let's just talk briefly. I'm going to give it to Jared because he's the top dog. Just give us an overview of the CNS. I mean, CNS, I believe, stands for Communication Signals. I'll go that. I'll eliminate all of the acronyms of the CNS functional group and kind of who resides there, what committees, and what they're responsible for, so that if someone out there is listening to this, they may take interest in joining one of these technical committees.
Sure, and actually we're now the CS&IT functional group with the advent of Committee 35, as you correctly identified earlier. So the CS&IT functional group consists of committees 34 through 39. 34 is scales, right? So they deal with electronic scales for revenue purposes. They're a bit of a niche group within, you could argue that CNS traditionally has been a niche group of folks very specialized, that the scale group is within themselves very, very specialized, but important to have industry benchmarks there, certainly for the purpose of revenue scales. 35 is the IT centric committee. They're the newest committee. And right now they're doing some very interesting things in terms of, just due to the nature of what they're dealing with more in the world of IT, or OT, you might want to call it, and how rapidly things change, right? So they're really trying, that group is taking on the pioneering of some new ways to deliver and maintain ARIMA manual content within that group that I think is going to be really exciting, not just because they need it, but really looking in the mirror. We probably all need a little bit of that in terms of going forward. What's the best way to house and maintain and deliver content that people are going to be interested in? So really interested in what that group's getting into and how that can potentially spread. 36 is the committee that focuses on highway crossings, especially those that have active warning devices. So, plenty of that infrastructure on all the railroads. And they also deal with going back and forth with the public facing entities like the MUTCD and things of that nature, to really help speak for the railroads part of the interface at highway rail grade crossings. So that's really what they're all about. 37 is wayside signaling, really going back to the fundamental nuts and bolts from application, the hardware, how to apply things, all the way from legacy to current electronic formats. In the legacy wayside signaling system. 38 is energy and defect detectors. They kind of a little bit of some miscellaneous things that come into play there. That can include yards and controls. They get into some hardware specifics on cables and solar power, other forms of power, batteries. But the detector part obviously has been a highlight over the past few years and generated a lot of talk and activity out of Committee 38 as well. Committee 39 is PTC. We've already spoken a bit about PTC. It kind of self-explanatory, but that committee obviously grew and was instrumental in helping the industry through that process. And keeping everybody on the same page, and they continue that, and as well as taking, PTC, gift that keeps on giving, right? Other things like crossing activation, other things forward looking that, this big investment that we've made is the railroads can continue to leverage and not let get stale. So that's kind of the wrap up of the CS&IT committees.
I'm going to say, even as a VP of the structures functional group, that was the best summary of any of the functional groups at ARIMA ever on the podcast. Better than the one I did. So congratulations. You're winning 2026 right out of the gates, Jared. I appreciate that. That was actually fantastic. And mostly because it's coming from a guy who doesn't know much about it. And so really it's helpful for our listeners to know what's out there, what the different roles are available. Obviously, you guys are looking for members. Do any of the committees have a wait list that you're aware of right now, or is it relatively easy to join?
I'm not aware of any wait lists at this point. I mean, some of the committees have grown a good bit in recent times, which is good. But we're always open door.
Good. Yeah, I know structures has got a couple with a wait list, but we're always trying to figure our ways around that as well. And when you mentioned detectors, does that count as a detector for you guys? Yes or okay?
It would. Yep.
Okay. So really anything sitting alongside the right of way that is interacting with, I guess, the rolling stock. Is that a decent way of saying it?
That's right. Yeah, it's a fixed means of detecting defects on rolling stock. Yep.
Cool. All right. I've got the $1 million question I am going to ask here, and no, it has nothing to do with any sort of transcontinental merger. But I would like to ask about I would like to ask about the AI, right? So that's a huge topic. I covered it briefly at the national convention. The amount of questions that came out of that were crazy. There's just so much interest in where AI plays in the rail space, whether it's safety, whether it's efficiency, whether it's elimination of well, frankly, some folks are nervous about losing their jobs, to be honest with you. So And I think that goes across all industries, just so we're clear. Um, does AI, do you think there will be a fit for that in your functional group? Do you think that they'll have some sort of a committee that's going to attack that? Or do you think we're way too early for that? And either of you can answer this question. I'd love to hear from both of you.
Well, I'll go first. I think the AI topic has come up when the efforts I mentioned of Committee 35,
Mm-hmm.
and just a way that we can, if you think about it, if you're not using AI to help you do research and things like that, you're probably behind the times already, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we don't, as ARIMA and the committees, if we don't have a way to help facilitate that, people are going to be looking elsewhere. As it relates to the industry as a whole, I mean, we've really got some safety sensitive type areas we're working in here, right? And you could probably think, well, we're going to put up this brick wall and not let AI try to penetrate that wall. But I think we'd be kidding ourselves there too if we don't think that there's ways it can help, right? And maybe define it well and understand it, contain it if such a thing is possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my take on it at the current moment, and it's rapidly developing and changing, of course.
Yeah. So potentially 35 might be the place where it starts, and who knows if it spawns into its own little group. I know there's a lot of discussion around the legalities of the checking, excuse me, of the data, etc. Jason, you want to chime in there?
Yeah, so with signals and train control systems, safety and efficiencies are always been our primary goal. And I think just like Jared, I think there's a chance AI may actually help us with both of them. When you think about some things we've done internally, I know we've started doing some work with AI just regarding our everyday email meeting workload and helping us summarize those tasks. But even further beyond that, I know I'm given a presentation with Waitronics at the symposium, talking a little bit about AI and how we're going to utilize some outward-facing cameras and AI to help us with automatic inspections of wayside assets. So I think there's an opportunity that AI really helps all the committees at some point, and will down the road. So definitely more to come. I know it's still early on. Got lots of work to do in that arena.
That's what a great segue as well. I do want to just hit on a couple things you both said. I agree with you. I've talked to some people that are, they'll see an email or they'll see an agenda come forward. And it's like, oh, this is obviously AI put together. And it's kind of like, excuse me. At this point, if you're not kind of just dabbling in it, you're kind of falling behind. Yeah. Because I pride myself. I really enjoy technical writing and I like to write a lot. But AI is kind of the ultimate writer's block breaker. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but boy, it can get you kind of going and it can get your thoughts flowing. And like there are useful aspects of it. And I think you're right. We're at the base of the mountain and we got a lot of climbing to do. But I think we have to embrace it and figure out a way to embrace it safely to benefit all the committees and ARIMA as a whole. So that's going to be interesting over the next 5 years. And you did a great job with a self-promotion of a presentation that you're going to be putting forth. So let's talk about the symposium. I do know, I'll give you what I do know. I know it's March 3rd through the 5th in Jacksonville, and that is the extent of what I know. Well, nope, that's not true. I also know that there's a really cool CSX, is it WabTech field trip? So who wants to start with the kind of the, give me the rundown on the agenda of the CNS Symposium.
Well, I'll take a high-level start at it, Walt. So you're right. It is March 3rd through the 5th, and it really starts out, it really packages in the whole week because we have CS&IT functional group meetings for all committees except Committee 34 on the front or the rear end of the 3 days of symposium. So for those interested in potentially committee interest, this is a good multi-purpose entire week from that standpoint. It also helps our committee members who, many of them who are highly involved in our content and presenting it, also help them maximize their week as well. So after a day and a half of committee meetings on the front end on Monday and Tuesday, Tuesday the 3rd in the afternoon is when we have our field trips, and it's a two-pronged field trip. One that goes to CSX is hosting it. Jason put together, so I'll let him speak more to that himself here in a moment. WabTech is also hosting one at their PTC lab in Jacksonville. This is part of the reason why Jacksonville was an attractive choice for where we decided to go. Obviously, you have CSX there, but there really is a healthy vendor presence and supplier presence in the CS&IT area in the Jacksonville region. Wednesday, the 4th, we get into symposium in earnest with the presentation portion. That's a full day on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we have a half day to round it out. And then we have committee meetings on the trailing day and a half of the symposium as well. So really a full week if you wish to make it such, and are interested in not just the symposium, but committee attendance, whether you're already a member of a committee or you're interested in one. They'll all be there, like I said, except for 34. We do have a theme for this symposium. It's past, present, future is kind of the theme we came up with. In one sense, that really just opens the door wide open for a broad range of topics. But really, it's the thought process behind it was that with all of the changes and advancement that go on right now, really in our line of work, we've been in pretty much a consistent business over time, even going back to the beginning of signal systems. And the phrase I've gravitated toward and recently is, we keep trains from playing bumper cars, and that applied back then, and it still applies now. And to be successful in the future, it really helps to understand the fundamentals that have gotten us to where we're at. So that's kind of a little bit of the theming. And I think, if you look at our presenters that we've chosen, really a broad range. And I will say that I was very pleasantly, maybe I shouldn't say surprised, but I was very happy with the output and the interest we got from presenters. We really actually could have run a concurrent two-stage presentation setup if we had been kind of ready for that. We weren't really expecting it. So for those who might be listening here, I'll thank the presenters and those who submitted. And we're really excited about the content that we've got set up for this coming up next year. So I'll let Jason explain a little more about his tour and any other comments.
No, I thought you did a good job summarizing. We had there's a lot of really good educational content. Really Wednesday is going to be about the past and the present, and then Thursday morning is really about some of the future initiatives, some of the cutting edge technologies and things that we're working on. So I know I'm looking forward to seeing the presentations and learning some here. So the field trips, like you had mentioned, WabTech's hosting one of the field trips there at their lab here in Jacksonville. It's going to be around wireless crossings. That's future technology that I know will be important to both safety and efficiency down the road. And there's some new stuff they've worked on with the industry. We're going to do a site visit in their lab and hopefully experiencing a little bit about what that's all about. And then here in Jacksonville, we've also got a infrastructure project that CSX is working on with, some of the local and with some funding from outside parties and FRA. And this is around redoing some infrastructure to help improve fluidity here in Jacksonville. We plan to take, the team through that site visit, take a look at, some of the signal work, signals, cable, some of the infrastructure stuff that it takes to actually do and install this type of work. So that'll be done on Tuesday afternoon.
That's very cool. And so I love the fact that you were, how about this, pleasantly overwhelmed with abstracts, is what it sounds like. Um, we were as well for the Railroad Bridge Symposium last year, to give it some props. It was the best. It was our most attended, probably the most popular event the Structures Functional Group has ever done. The outpouring of abstracts we got was just amazing. We had a morning session, what we call a general session in one room, and then we split to a in parallel. We split it two different tracks. Like, excuse me, one was focused on design and one was focused on maintenance. That was kind of a natural for that group. But what you're doing, I like this a lot. The past, present, future. So you're following that. You're doing a day and a half. Did you have? I mean, did you have so many that you had to basically say, "Hey, please don't throw this in the trash. Can you please reapply for the national conference?" I'm assuming at this point.
Yeah, certainly. We
Yeah,
encourage those folks who we didn't select for symposium to prime candidates for conference coming up in 26. Yeah.
that's cool. It just shows that there's a lot of interest in what's going on, and I think that's what's exciting to me. And you guys are on the bleeding edge of the technology side, obviously, of our industry. Uh, I think that's, I don't know, that's exciting stuff. Where is this happening in Jacksonville specifically? Do you know I guess it's probably on the website. Which hotel it's in, I guess.
It
Hyatt
is.
Regency here in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay, Hyatt. Yeah, so not far for Jason, but
Nope.
further for the rest of us. Got it. Okay, cool. And another question I know that comes up a lot: have you guys closed? I doubt it. I'll just say that. I'm assuming there are still sponsorship opportunities available for those that are interested. I'm guessing you can go through the ARIMA website for that.
Yeah, that's all on the symposium website. And as far as registration goes, January 30th is the cutoff for the early rate versus the later rate.
Okay, cool, excellent. And you said there's two field trips. Is that what I heard? Or there's three?
Two.
Two.
Yeah.
There's two.
All the attendees will go to both, and we'll just swap. Probably have two groups of folks that trade places. So anybody who's going on the field trip will get to see both.
Oh, okay, cool. So they're gonna okay. So they get to go to two different locations. It's not. It's okay. Got it. So you don't get to miss out on anything. You get to go to both of them. All right, that's awesome. Weather should be good, I would think, in March in Jacksonville. Let's see, what else am I missing? Because I think this has been great. And then I know. Let's go back just real quickly, Jason. You did mention you're presenting. Do you want to give us even a more of a little bit of a teaser of what you're going to be talking about? I'm assuming you're talking Thursday morning.
Yes. So I'm one of the future. I'm participating with Waitronics, a company that is sponsoring, uh, the symposium. Um, but we've been working with them for about 5 years now, and actually partnered with the FRA in looking for a way to use our outward-facing cameras on our locomotives to monitor and automate some of the operations around our highway crossings. So um, that's kind of the concept. We're going to kind of share some of the stuff we've learned, and then some of the things that we're working on here currently.
That's cool. All right. So it sounds like if you're interested in the future facing stuff, show up Thursday morning. And it also sounds like, I'll just be honest with you, Jared did a great job talking about the fact that you guys front and back rear loaded the committee meetings. So if an individual's out there is a member of nothing, that individual could show up that week and kind of come and go, and as a guest, I would assume, and see what's going on in the different meetings, get a read on some of these presentations, go on a field trip. I mean, this is awesome. I like what you guys put together here. It's obviously taken a lot of work. This would be a great opportunity if you want to give any shout outs. I mean, assuming how many people helped you guys put this together? Probably three, four, five, six, 10.
Yeah, really, really, Jason and Mitch obviously helped me out, and really all the committee chairs of our committees, pitched in some form or fashion. Some of them are presenting themselves. So yeah, really that whole team, and of course the team back at headquarters with all the logistics and everything else kept us in line and on track and on time with on calendars and everything else. So really a great overall effort, and I'm appreciative all the way around.
Awesome. I can tell. I appreciate it, Jared. Jason, you got any final thoughts? I mean, I guess people can still sign up all the way. I'm guessing they can sign up all the way up until sometime in February, I'd assume.
Yep. No, I would just encourage everybody to take a look at the website, take a look through the presentations, and sign up. It's going to be a good symposium. I know it's going to be a great opportunity to network with everybody from railroads to suppliers, and of course, the educational content. I think it's going to be really good, and we're going to learn a lot.
Cool. All right. Well, Happy New Year to both of you gentlemen. It's great to kick off the year with you guys. Obviously, you put a lot of work into this. I think it's going to pan out really well. I'm excited about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure out a way to, even though I'm a bridge guy, maybe I could figure out a good way to show up in Jacksonville that week to see some of the stuff that you've done. Yeah, that's all I've got. I appreciate you both being on the show. Jared, do you want to have the last word? It's all yours, my friend.
Well, Walt, thanks for having us. Appreciate you getting us together, and as we've said, we're really excited about what we've got coming up for the symposium, and really a lot of the other things we've got going on in the CS and IT groups and committees in general. So, really looking forward to 2026.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Walt.
Thank you for rolling with ARIMA on today's episode of Platform Chats. For further information about ARIMA, please visit arema.org or contact us at info@arima.org.